compound words where you join two words together. We are joining two inequalities together. So Griffin, I know you've been missed a few days, but all the notes are on Canvas that you can catch up on if you didn't already. Okay. Anybody else who's been absent? I make the videos. I try to post them during SLT. Just depends on how long YouTube takes to. Yeah. My hand cam. Right? Okay. So an and inequality, when you graph it, might look something like this. They're going to be connected, which I know doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but it will once we work through the lesson. And then an or should be -3. Would be when they go in opposite directions. Okay, so when you graph compound inequalities, you're either going to have two graphs that join in the middle, like connect, or two graphs that go in opposite directions, right? Which makes sense. All of these solutions qualify for greater than 3 and less than or equal to 2. So that's the and. And all of these solutions are less than -3 or greater than or equal to 2. So when you really think about what's happening, it'll make the most sense. And there's a very obvious distinction when you're given the information. Like, can't miss it. You'll know what you're supposed to do for each one. Okay? So we'll just jump into our examples. So with your colored pencils, we're going to outline our two inequalities. We have this inequality, and then we have this inequality. So because there's something in the middle here, this qualifies as and, right? Because they overlap, that's our and. So we know our graph is going to look something like this where they connect. Our end result of our graph should be something like this where it connects. Do you have colored pencils, Will? You need colored pencils. Everybody needs 2 colored pencils. You guys, or you can here. I'll put some up on the counter here. Color pencils are crucial for this, so you can see what's happening. Any 2 colors you want. Go on, don't be shy. Get yourself colored pencils. Come on. Anybody else need them? Yep, that's shocking. Will, no, you go get yourself colored pencils. Come on. What is this? When you need something at home, do you just sit there and wait until your mom gets it for you?
Yes.
No, that's terrible.
It is exactly what happened.
It does take a long time.
No, I don't want to do it, but it's like.
Yeah, my kid would just be sitting there all day waiting for something. You have legs, use them.
That's exactly what she said.
Yes.
Except I weighed her out.
Okay, so the 2 inequalities I have here, remember I'm going to always put my variable on the left. So what I have here is x is greater than or equal to -8, and I have x is less than or equal to 4. So when I graph this, I'm going to have 2 closed points, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So they connect in the middle. Right? The arrows are going to connect in the middle. So my answer can be anything in between these two values, including those two values, because it's or equal to. So that's a pretty simple example. So I told you when we started this, it will be really obvious if it's and or, and I wasn't lying. The word or will be in the or inequalities, okay? I think it's pretty funny too. Pretty obvious. If you miss this, I can't help you, right? So I'm going to just draw my arrows accordingly, going in the opposite directions. So in this situation, there's not very many, well, I guess you could say there's infinite if you count all the, teeny tiny decimal values, but there's not a whole lot that your solution could be here, right?
Yeah.
Can my solution to this be -1? No. I'm talking, so it's -1 and lower, right? So can it be 2? Can it be 1? No, it has to be in the opposite directions. Can it be -8? Yes. Okay. So you have to pay really close attention to what it's asking, because there is going to be where you have to decide, is this a solution or not? Okay. All right. Example number 3. We're going to step up our game. So we have -4 is less than x minus 2, which is less than 3. So we're going to outline our two inequalities again. This is where it's really important you're careful where you write the border, right? It goes all the way up to that next inequality symbol. So you draw those two borders, super important for this one. Use your colored pencils, no shortcuts. What I have to do to complete this inequality is actually create two separate inequalities. So I'm going to have -4 is less than x minus 2, and I'm going to have x minus 2 is less than 3. So I have two separate inequalities to solve, right? So this x minus 2 is here. The x minus 2 is also here. So then I would use my inequality solving rules. -2 is less than x. Bless you. X is less than 5. You guys know I'm going to rewrite this as x is greater than -2, just because that's my preference. So then when I graph it, they will connect. Because all the values greater than -2 are this way, and all the values less than 5 are this way. And if I want to get super fancy, I could say negative 2 is less than x is less than 5. Super fancy. Okay, as you can see, I've run out of room, so I'm going to go on to my next page. We just have a couple more examples. Is anybody still working on this? Caleb, you can get another piece of paper. Or you can use the back, it's up to you.
Oh, let me see the back then, the second piece.
You can use the back if you want. That's fine. I'm using the second piece
So
because
I
that's
don't use second piece if I'm using the
sure. Mhm.
That was cool.
So for this one, are the two lines going to go towards each other or away from each other? Towards each other, right? Because we have this center thing. Also, we don't see the word or, right? That's our signal that they're going to go away from each other. It's this or that. Okay. So when I draw my inequalities, my borders, I've got negative 3 is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 1. And then I've got negative 2x plus 1 is less than or equal to 9. I rewrite both inequalities. I solve the inequalities. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. Anybody want to tell me what's going to happen here? It's going to flip because I have a negative 2. So I'm going to have 2 is greater than or equal to x. This one's going to flip as well. You know I'm going to rewrite this one as x is greater than or equal to, or excuse me, less than or equal to 2. Again, you don't have to rewrite it with the variable on the left. That's just my preference. Sebastian?
I have a question. Why does it matter which way the sign's facing in ants?
Why does it matter which way the sign's facing?
Yep.
Like how for this one?
Yeah.
Be-
Because it's still gonna come together, isn't it? Either way. If it's facing right or if it's facing left, it doesn't matter.
That's correct, but then you would have to have the 9, like you'd have to have the whole thing switched. Like it would definitely depend on the values. Like, I guess it doesn't. You can, but you would have, you can't just switch the signs. You have to also switch these,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it doesn't. Okay. And if I wanted to write this super fancy, I would have negative 4 x is greater than or equal to negative 4 and less than or equal to 2. Right. Super fancy. If this was the quiz and you just wrote these two or whatever combination of the two, I'd accept that. Are the arrows going to go towards each other or away from each other? Away from each other. I don't even need my color pencils for this. This is Mrs. Marsh. Okay, Leilani, come here for a second. No problem. Here you go. It's Mrs. Alexander. She just needs to talk to you.
Hello? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Everything okay?
Yep.
Okay. So another thing that I have students that sometimes get a little anxious about the quiz and all the things I'll accept, it has to be very obviously not colored in, right? I shouldn't have to be like, did they mean to color it in? Did they not mean to color it in? Right? So as obvious as you can make it that it's open or closed, that will help me and you, right? Whatever that means to you and how you want to turn it in. If I can't tell, then I'm not going to give you credit. Right, I'll take partial points off. Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry. I was.
Oh, okay. Anybody have questions about that? No? Yes, Sebastian?
Does it always have to be one negative and one positive?
Nope.
Or what happens if it's two positives?
That's just the way it would work. Then you would just have the two numbers over here, you'd have 0 as a reference. Any other questions? Okay, yes?
So on the or, we don't have to do the fancy stuff. That's just on and.
Yep. Just so you know what it looks like.
And even if we don't do the fancy stuff, would you tell that?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Okay, let's fill out our table of contents really quick here. I don't know if we're all caught up on our table of contents or if we have a few days to do.
We're all caught up.
Awesome. Okay.
There's more important things. Oh, wait. I just made this beautiful object.
So we've got compound inequalities notes. Keep these out, don't put them away quite yet.